Untouchable. Confront the new power behind Providence. I mean, of course, Endo Finero was killed back in the namesake episode, but here we're going to a place that very much exists in the real world. One that we've talked about quite a bit. I'm sure you...
Oh, wow. This is a real place. This is where Dracula lives. The Carpathian Mountains.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to give it a little bit more lead up, but that's right. The final mission, as it turns out, is to kill Dracula. Yeah, you thought we were just making a bunch of weird references for no particular reason.
It's all coming together. Yeah, and I didn't even realize this. You're telling me this now for the first time.
No, I've been telling you, of course, the entire series. It's just now you realize it.
You've been making me realize it without me knowing that I'm realizing it, yes.
The reality is that this is actually like a brilliant series that will be studied in the future for its incredible, impact on culture and science.
Wait, this series that we're doing now or the Hitman series?
Don't forget about the Hitman series. We're going to be talking about us. Us, baby. We're the real stars of the show.
We're 48, baby. We're bigger than 47.
Oh no, that's gonna really upset everybody because
we're 47 squared.
He's bigger than Jesus. Even a reference that I can make that people understand.
That may be too long ago. That was like 60 years ago at this point.
Okay, well I'm not old. You're old.
All right. So anyway, in this game, you're gonna find out all the people that you killed are gonna come back and kill you.
Speaking of which,
are these actually all the people you've killed? By the way, I know.
Yeah, that was all the people that I killed since I think Hitman the first.
Until I gave you one.
Oh, you know they do that at one point in the series Barry. It's not like
Burnwood never
what?
ceases to surprise me. You really are a most singular individual. And to think she wanted me to put you down. Lucky for you.
So you're dead right now.
No, clearly it's
and now you're meeting the Constant.
Situation entirely wrong. No, he's about to give me just the old dose of the old amnesia serum so that he can make me an RPG protagonist.
Okay. Oh, so and you're kind of getting the implication that we've become exceedingly efficient at this. This is this has happened before.
Well, I mean, it did happen before when he was like a kid. That's the entire crux of the series. It's just the Constant here is just like, damn, he's so stealthy and so good at his job that we can't just kill him, and that's going to be his undoing.
He's the perfect assassin, but what if...
The toxins are playing into your fears.
But what if?
Don't let them.
But what if he kills you, the Constant? What if that happens?
As always, the story doesn't matter that much. But you can see they're starting out with a very more cinematic sort of start to the final mission of Hitman 3 here.
By the way, I'm not trying to spoil this. I just actually don't... I actually don't know what's going to happen. So I'm assuming that they're...
Oh, you know what? I'll lay it out for you right now. Yes, the mission is to kill the Constant.
In the end, she was just...
Wow.
Huge spoilers for Hitman 3. It ends with you killing the Constant.
Rest is up to you.
But the Constant is my friend, right? I thought the Constant was on our side.
I swear to God, after the beginning of the last episode.
Oh, hold on. I'm just going to cover my eyes. Oh, reality went away again. Sorry. Where am I?
Damn it.
Oh.
I can't believe it's happened again. Okay, well, break out the next Duncan, Idaho pod.
Yeah, I like this idea of the second guy because like it implies that there's only been one of me, and I believe that in my heart of hearts. But that isn't true, is it? I'm really...
Oh no, he's realizing too much. Whatever, we can finish this episode here first.
I'm a trained sidekick. I'm just so expendable. I don't know. This is really...
When you say expendable, you don't know how expensive those pods are.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It's like, let me tell you, the technology these days does not... mass manufacturing of co-stars is not easy. And yet pretty much every single sitcom out there has to do it.
Yes, it's one of the great expenses. Like you think about the U.S. economy and stuff. That's 75% of the U.S. economy is just growing sidekicks in a lab.
The other 75, of course, is the CGI to insert like flames into 5 seconds of
into Marvel.
footage.
Yeah, into Marvel commercials.
Into all those Marvel commercials for like, Toyotas or bed pillows.
Yeah, all the tie-ins, they have to make that blue flame come out somewhere. Otherwise, you can't do that. And if you can't do that, you can't do business.
Well, anyway, welcome to the Carpathian Mountains. We are in Aether's secret super laboratory, I guess, where I can actually just straight up kill any and everybody that I want to if I so choose. They have just thrown out the entire idea that it's like you want to kill only the target here. However, I'm,
Silent Assassin is still in effect, right? Like, you can't just kill them and get Silent Assassin, right?
No, I think you can. I mean, it even says
okay.
in the objectives that it's just like you can just kill everybody if you want to, man.
But you don't get to be the greatest hitman of all time by accepting others' lower standards of you. You're gonna do this your own way.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately. Look, I'm just saying that it's like we've gone through the entire series. I really could have just like, all right, let's just take out the gun and shoot everyone. You've been waiting for it the entire game, baby.
You're going into the final frame with 270 pins. You just gotta hit one more.
I've been conserving all of my ammo for this. Oh gee, I wonder what the keypad is. Can you guess?
What was 1970?
That was right on the stupid poster there.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, also fun thing about this, for whatever reason, a lot of the stuff that you procure on site is like rusty crowbars, so they're only one use. I don't really know why. Or why they were keeping it. Just kidding, we're in a train.
That's a great twist.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, as cool as this is as an idea, unfortunately, a train is, needless to say, not a very large location. So, ultimately, unlike, a lot of the previous areas where, well, you just do whatever you need to finish the mission, here, it's a train.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, they're saying it's a hostile area just because it's like really cold, or if anyone spots you, they'll go after you.
Oh, if anybody sees me, they'll kill me. This works by like the Colorado rules, where there is not, you don't blend into this area.
I see. And can you stay there for an indefinite amount of time without getting sick or something, or dying?
Well, you get this little frost vignetting on the screen, but no, Hitman is immune to temperature changes.
I see. So it's more of just like, okay, it's a symbolic thing. You shouldn't do this, and it will kind of mess up your vision.
Well, I mean,
it
it does exist in like other parts of the game where if you straight up enter an area, it's like these are people that will not accept surrender. They will just shoot at you if they see you.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, usually it's like it goes from, like normal area to trespassing to hostile area. But since I do everything stealthily anyway, that's kind of irrelevant because, trespassing is basically the same thing as a hostile area. I'm going to need to restart regardless, which is why.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much this is exactly what it looks like. You're just like going through different train cars and everything like that. They are their own like self-contained stealth sections or shoot everybody to death sections if you so choose.
Yeah. This kind of feels like too much of a not a huge problem, but just kind of too much of a like, oh, this is your final like mission. It's they're trying too hard to make this the last mission.
Yeah, to make it a very cinematic sort of thing. It's a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it. I'm saying it right now. On rails.
Okay, that worked.
Yeah, and it's like, look, when I was thinking about this, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to say it, aren't I? Like, it is unfortunate. Like, I can't even, no other word came up.
It's a good bit. It's a classic humor, a comedy joke. I'm not even paying attention to the words I'm saying anymore. So,
Look, man,
all right.
everybody want to talk like they have something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips.
Just a bunch of gibberish. Yeah. So, I like this kind of like, okay, this is how we're giving exposition. You have to go through this, but I feel like it's also kind of. Oh, that's a neat map, by the way. Just a really.
Yep, it is. It is a decommissioned Russian train running on a private line. Blah blah blah. That's why it's like, you know, it's secret train.
I feel like trains are great for exposition, just the way that, you know, because they run on a single line. You know, there's only.
I would just say on rail. We already broke the seal on that one.
I mean, I'm making a one Descartes like Cartesian coordinates joke. Never mind.
Oh my God, I would have never seen that coming.
But yeah, no. Also, seriously, literally, trains are also very good for exposition narratively. Just it's a good. You have to go through from the back to the front, or from the front to the back.
Yeah, but I mean, also, you know, even more than that, like trains work very well in fiction because they are you have a captive area where everybody that is on there has to be on there. Now, does it work great for an action setting? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I do think that of the various final missions of these games, that this one is kind of the lesser one. I don't know. It's just it's so small.
Yeah, like the whole. The main draw of these games is the locations, I would say, in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, some people probably like the murder, like, sandbox thing, but, like, I would say even that's aided by it being in these ridiculous locations. This is a ridiculous location, but it's kind of, like, finite. It feels not very fleshed out. It's all the same kind of train cars. There's slight differences between them, but I haven't seen anything really different. It's kind of just like it's a long train. You've got to go.
I mean, well, we had like the lab at the very beginning that isn't an individual train car, and then there's like we're into there are also individual outdoor sections that have like the concrete pipes that have like wood on them. What a very eclectic train. And you know, it does let the developers make very particularly designed sort of areas for you to go through.
Yeah.
But it's also it is very limiting. And I'm not, and everybody knows I am not somebody that likes exploration. I prefer this, but I do feel like it's a bit too limiting, unfortunately. So it is. I mean, I see what they were trying to do, but compared to like the Isle of Sagail, which is so huge, has multiple levels, has all this stuff going on in it, and like of course Hokkaido, which had like an entire unique type of security system and everything that required there. It's we do get to see Hitman shirtless the entire episode. I couldn't. By the way, you probably noticed in the last episode, I couldn't resist. We're doing it again. It's for whatever reason, I just decided these last few episodes are all going to be Silent Assassin suit only, baby.
Yeah, I like that they still have food and drinks even in this. But yeah, no, it is very limited.
I still live in style, even if it's now like a super spy train.
I mean, speaking of on rails, by the way, I mentioned Psychonauts too. This that was before I realized we were on a train. It feels even more like that now. It's just kind of like, okay, we're going along. You know, if you've played that, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of on rails.
They just give you a free suit right there, but I'm just like, no, I knew I couldn't resist
only, baby.
when I started doing this. The suit only
assassin.
stuff.
Yeah, it suits you, frankly.
Ooh. I mean, of course, this is hardly a suit, but at the same time, it is a funny concept. I don't know, at least to me.
It's your birthday suit, at least the top.
Yeah, no, we're not putting on, you know, like a fancy overalls, which are of course just body paint, and your entire wangus is hanging out there, right?
Yeah. By the way, you would get frostbite except for those EKG things that are giving you warmth by covering that part of your back.
No, Hitman doesn't. Hitman is we've talked about this before. He has a massive undifferentiated cells like a mushroom, any part of it, or like a slime,
or a rhizome. Yeah. any cell can regrow to become the entire Hitman. And in particular, he's got little Hitman heads in his brain. Each of his lobes of his brain is a smaller Hitman. Yeah. Of course,
they just
we all
burst out of
know
his
that,
head like
though.
Athena.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's sort of like he's got a mini Hydra of brain lobes that are all Hitman.
It's a good thing that I've never actually gotten into a fight, because the individual Hitman growing from the bullet wounds would be just horrifying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you would win, but at what cost? At the cost of your own sanity, because
The cost of your humanity.
they get increasingly less sane as you go through the different, like, lobes, like, as you go many layers deep.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
they're-
gave up
they're
on
just,
that
like,
one.
There's just, like, homunculi in the, the third or fourth layer down of lobes of Hitmen. And by that point, they're just the Joker at that point. It's terrifying.
Ow, 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 ow.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't realize
shocked
you could
that
actually
doesn't
get hit
kill
by
you.
those. Yeah.
Like, it feels like that should have killed me. But whatever, I'm not going to argue with the game, I suppose.
It would be cool if it just, like, beheaded you and it said mission failed.
I feel like look, this game can get pretty hokey. I don't know if it quite gets that. I don't know if it has that level of hokum in it.
There you go. I was going to say.
Yeah. Bringing up stuff we talked about before. Anyway,
That's what it's all about.
the hokey, the hokum pokum. The name for this entire era of the channel is the hokum pokum, of course. And then I just was like, whatever, just go. So I'm like, is there any It looks so scary, but it only does like a little bit of damage to you, so whatever.
Yeah, that's I feel like that should execute you at some level, but whatever.
Yeah, and
I like the
it's also a pretty like, because it's not, this isn't really that sort of game.
it is pretty metal that you just picked a lock with a rusty old nail.
Oh yeah, like I said, all of the stuff that you get here is just temporary things, and I don't know why they decided that the lockpick was going to be a rusty nail, but
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with this. It does just like, yeah, it feels like, okay, you're kind of directing us on this
it's
mission
limited.
from the beginning.
It's just very limited.
Yeah.
Like, remember Sagile? Remember, like, there was like the gigantic glass cube up on the top of there and everything.
Yeah. Served in a man's hat.
Yes, exactly. And failed. Okay, so I am a little bit more... I'll admit, I played a little bit more freeform with the saves at this point. I still tried to keep them minimal, but yeah. It's a pretty long sort of section. It's not like waiting around here. You do have... this is the most level-based, I would say, of the entire game, in the sense that every car that you go down is like an entire different stealth level that you go through. If you're, again, you can gun everybody down. They give you that as a mission in the upper left corner there.
Yeah. Does it actually, like, does that just, if you beat the mission, you just get that finished?
I think it's just... I think that if I was able to stealthily gun everyone down, which is possible, I guess, that I would still get Silent Assassin.
I feel like it's plausible that, okay, there's somebody who's not in Providence who's here. But no.
I do not think... That was close. I do not think that is the case. This is a secret train. That would be a Draculian feat for somebody to somehow get on here and not know anything about
there you
Providence.
go. How would you actually be stealthy in this environment? There's one guy.
By exploiting AI, so you wouldn't.
I mean, it would be like, there's only one thing that would trigger an alarm if the hitman gets out. Like, there's one thing you need to worry about.
Also, by the way, a bag of rice and stuff on the shelf there.
Also, they know it's the hitman. Why would this be?
There's nobody else that would be going through here.
Yeah, it's like they how can they be fooled by this? The parameters that they have given us. They have decided to go on this train with the Hitman, and I guess they probably think, oh well, it's the perfect, like it's an Ocean 11 level heist that you'd have to go through the whole train.
Some of the NPCs actually talk about that.
Oh, that's funny.
They're like, oh well, we're just here to go guard a single guy. He's a sneaky dude. He's not even gonna be any good at combat, not like us.
Yeah, and then you're hiding behind a lampshade as you're saying that, as if
Pretty much. I mean, that is, yeah, you got it. But I mean, I literally did play the entire game Silent Assassin, and then suit only at the end of this year. So that was a gambit, but it actually worked out. Just flashbanged them, but not literally using a flashbang grenade, because I could have actually gotten one, I think, from that box there, but
using
whatever.
their headgear. And then they're not going to raise the alarm even though they've been flashbanged and they don't know why.
Well, no, there was just like a big spotlight on there. That doesn't necessarily mean that... Oh, yes. This is a stupid thing. I made a save file there. I took so many tries because that one guy in that room there would phase through the wall and see me. So it's like, for whatever reason, if I close that door, he doesn't do it. But if that door's open, he just like, he just clips right through the wall into my face.
Yeah. It's kind of an AI giveth, AI taketh here, so...
Yeah, Arthur Edwards really stepping up the security by getting people that can pass through solid objects.
You just taking a break here? Like you just...
Well, I gotta wait for him to walk past. But I mean, yeah,
okay.
Hey, it's been a rough day for Hitman.
It's been a while, yeah.
I mean, I don't actually know how long it's been, but like, it's certainly been some amount of time since I was in Argentina.
Enough time to bring you from Argentina to Romania, which, for those geography heads out there, you'll know that that's quite a long ways. That's an entire hemisphere, essentially.
Yep. So you look for when he puts away the gun and then just walk right past. Stealthiest man alive, it's Hitman. By the way, yes, I'm sure you probably noticed, I do have an icicle, and I was really thinking, it's like, oh, that would be a good way to end the game, wouldn't it? I could be like, it's revenge, best served cold.
And it's the perfect crime because the ice melts.
Yeah, and then you can serve the fish to the detectives.
Does that happen in
I
an
think
Agatha
that's
Christie or something?
Something or other. These two characters, they're facing opposite directions. They're right there. Somehow this was like the final boss of the game for me. It's just stupid. Anyway, then I realized, it's like, oh, right. If people see you, they'll come and walk over to that area. Why didn't I just do this in the first place?
Icicles are a dish of murder, best served cold.
And look, just got it. It's like going through the security room of Miami again.
I like that you're just like in a, like, that they can, it's a transparent, like, it's opaque, but it's still like you can see through it.
And yeah, you were saying like it doesn't really change up. Well, here's the office section of the train.
Yeah.
Well, we're done with that. So, you ready to end the game?
Ooh, I'm ready. Yeah.
I assume that they didn't die, but whatever.
Yeah. Train detachments play a huge role in the best mystery games out there. It's always.
You would think that Edwards would just have like two guys standing next to him at all points, but I mean, well, there we are.
Not just one empty train car.
Well, fuck.
The Constant. How do you do? Well,
didn't even put on a shirt. Well, all right.
Do you really think she'll be able to resist all that power?
is that always how the cutscene looks like, or is it only if you do no suits?
It's like in Hitman 1, they were much higher fidelity. In Hitman 2, you remember they had the slideshows, and now in Hitman 3, they just do it in engine. So it's all over the place for this entire series. I do know what that is. Come on, man, don't you want to just inject yourself with the amnesia serum?
It's just a Men in Black amnesia.
Never again.
Like,
I mean, yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Well, I had to try.
Mr. Anderson.
Do your thing. At least I die knowing who I am.
Or do you?
Ho ho ho.
Or we could use the valve. Nah, let's just do the stupid thing because I don't actually have any lethal weapons around here. Otherwise, I kind of used everything. Oh, okay.
So, if you use the amnesia serum, do you get something?
I mean, it completes the mission regardless because you killed his identity. Whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Look, the story doesn't matter.
Making a mistake.
The hokey ending.
I like that he's just like trying to persuade you. Like it's just like, oh,
I mean, what else is he gonna do? He's not a combatant.
Forgive me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
seem
it's
to
true.
have, what were we talking about?
Don't worry. We were done.
All right, we did it. Oh, Hitman. Took a long time to get through this series. I had fun.
Wait, so you actually gave him the amnesia serum?
Yeah, that's what that was.
That's such a weird.
I know, it's so hokey, right? Hey, I was not wearing a jacket, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you got to get a parka. You're in the Carpathian Mountains.
I didn't need that to go on the train. Whatever. Okay, anyway, I was saying, it's like, Hitman. Took me a long time to get through it. I'll be honest, it was kind of rough to do some of the missions because, I mean, you know, stealthy, and I was so persnickety about how I had to do things. It's like, this is a weird game for me because it plays to my, I want to do things perfectly, but also it lets me do things perfectly.
But you know, in the end, you did it. You killed Dracula.
Indeed, I did. Well, I mean, it made Dracula forget who he is, even though there is, in fact, a cure for that. But whatever.
I guess it's all wrapped up in a neat little package. There's no room for a sequel left. Everyone is dead or irrelevant. There's just nothing to do.
Nope.
It's
And we're all
truly
done.
the end of. It's truly the end of an era.
Shut up. So what do you think of Hitman? I mean, it's like I appreciate so much of what this game does and like the amount of work and everything that goes into it, but like it activated my I have to do everything perfectly mode, which just got worse over time with me eventually going through shirtless in this stupid train level. So like I liked it, but I'm also like, oh, I don't know if I can play any more of this because I'm just gonna keep master mode. It's gonna be silent assassin suit only. I'm gonna make sure that I never kill anybody except for the target. I'm gonna somehow do like each one of the missions not using. I just feel like I would eventually evolve into that if there was a Hitman 4.
I mean, you could just play it normally. You could just play it like
130 hours into this game, by the way, in total.
That's not that bad. I mean, it's all 3 games, and
Yeah.
Is untouchable.
I mean, honestly, you
Hey, she did it. She said the thing.
we're back. We're so back.
No, not that. The untouchable thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How do you like Hitman 3 over here?
No, I think it was a really solid game. I'm so impressed with the locales, and really, that's something that's a little bit underrated in games. I mean, I feel like, the atmosphere of creating a realistic environment. It's in the same way that we kind of devalue storytelling. We sometimes devalue the framing of that story. A story can't take place if the universe isn't somewhat realized. It has to feel like a real place. And they did a great job making all of these like ridiculous locations feel like real places. And I feel like I've been to like the experience of playing this game, or even just watching it, is going to these foreign locations, these very strange but also very weirdly realistic places where the AI doesn't make a lot of sense, but there's a logic to the maps that kind of makes everything cohere. It's very pleasant in the same way, you remember like from your childhood, you remember games that you played when you were younger, and a lot of what you remember is just the experience of being in a map and doing things. It's not as, some of it is obviously character moments. Of course, we attach to that, but some of it is just like the experience of getting to live in this for a short amount of time in this unfamiliar world as an unfamiliar character, and Hitman as the ultimate, like, Cypher character with
He is a
no
pretty basic Cypher
non-entity. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, he does a good job at it, but it's like he's non-entity that you can, basically a silent protagonist in all, says a few words here and there, but it has this kind of silent protagonist. You can embody the Hitman, whatever that means to you, whether that means killing everyone, killing some people, maybe even killing no one. Well, you've got to kill the
We're
target.
getting to like a review sort of thing.
I didn't plan to do this. I'm just like,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a good way to end up the game. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that it's like I think about people talking about Mario 64, for example. And it's like, oh man, look at the background in Wet Dry World. You can just imagine that, and it's so cool that there's like this little tiny city area that sort of exists beyond the main map. And then you just think about the amount of just detail packed into every single corner of this game, right?
Yeah.
It feels like you're always, even in, for example, the last level, talking about like the secret tunnel, looking at the different parts of the winery and stuff like that. There's always, it feels like there's always more stuff to see, and that ability to kind of like explore it and see all of the work that went into every single little part of the map is pretty cool.
Yeah, they didn't have to do it that. They could have, I think, had a pretty well-acclaimed game if they'd done about 85% of what they actually did, but they just decided to go harder than they had any right to in the locations, especially.
Every location was its own unique thing. It didn't feel like that. You could have easily copy pasted a lot of stuff here. Like, oh yeah, Hitman mostly just infiltrates laboratories or something, and now it's a big concrete hall or something. And honestly, it would probably still be good, but would it be quite the same thing as being able to, go straight from like the murder mystery house to a decommissioned nuclear power plant?
Yeah. I mean, you think about like GoldenEye or something. It's like that was a pretty good game, but like it's completely dwarfed by the kinds of detail. I mean, you feel like these are real replications of real places, but they also have this elevated reality where it's like, okay, these are characters. They're all fictional characters that you don't even care about. You just know this is the doctor, this is the musician, this is the lawyer, and they're almost archetypal in kind of this Agatha Christie way, where you're kind of invested in their plot and stuff. I don't know. I think they did a great job with this game. It's a great concept, and it's one of the few like you're willing to play open world games under this kind of constraint. And
it's just I just could not resist like being absolutely perfect with it by the end, which just made it so much more. Oh my god. Of course, even from the beginning I decided, hey, we're doing this silent assassin, one of the hardest and for no reason.
Well, I mean, at the same time, that probably gave you the structure to make it more compelling as a, as an exploration. You have a goal, you can be perfect and do the open world thing. I think in a way that's why they have these achievements. It's so you can have that kind of experience of like, you know what? You live by a code. Hitman is a code hero. He has no way to put it, morality except what you inject. He has no morality except what you inject into him. But you can choose to be that kind of Hitman. You could choose to be a ridiculous, like, Daffy Duck kind of hit. You can choose to do, you could play it in so many different ways. But ultimately, the fact that it's got so much detail is what makes it such a compelling game. And the details in the locations, and then also just all the different little wacky items that they have that,
and even the characters they did give extensive backstories to.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with the characters. Like, it always feels pretty realistic and stuff. Like, they feel like they did a good job with the bios, the dialogue and stuff. Like, honestly, Hitman is the least realistic part of this, and
which we talked about at length, of course.
He's the Dracula of this Dracula novel by Bram Stoker. He's the only unrealistic character in a very, very realistic setting.
You know, and of course we didn't even touch the like randomized roguelite mode and stuff like that, which of course has been added. Well, didn't that happen while we were doing this series because it's been so long?
Yeah, also with the AI stuff, it's like, yeah, the AI is bad, but you can kind of imagine, like, oh, okay.
It's the video game portion of it, and you're right, where it's like the fact that you can still very much play this as a video game just by putting enough constraints on yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
It still leads to just I had to limit myself to so many save files because otherwise you would just see me restart.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting fact that you can do that. Like, you can just, I can apply this constraint and make it a game that I can play. It's probably a lesson in there for all of us perfectionists.
Giving yourself different ways to play a video game, but I mean, also giving yourself a lot of freedom to do different stuff, which is kind of what we were talking about here. You know, related to the entire limitations that this one sort of put forth. At the same time, I'm just gonna say, excellent trilogy, excellent game. It definitely fills that sort of idea that I talked about when I first asked people to give me games to play, which is to say, I wouldn't normally play this game, but I'm glad I did. I am glad I did.
Yeah, and that's the end of an era.
You really had to just throw that one in there, didn't you?
Wait, are we done? Are we? Oh God, did I say that way too early?
You can say it again in another 10 seconds.
And I guess that was the